Hello. This video is just a few simple suggestions about how to deal with the aftermath of involvement with Roy Master's meditation and his teachings, mostly with the intent of helping people who have become so deeply involved that they were hindered in some way and may be experiencing trouble how to get back to themselves. Not everything I say is going to be applicable or appropriate for you, but just listen and see what clicks that you might find helpful. Remember, I've been through this before on my own, and I've also helped many others recover as well over the years. So I'm taking everything that I found to be helpful and have put it into a narrative form for anyone who might benefit. Number one, and this is especially for people who've just kind of quit the meditation and stuff, for now, put away all the Roy Master's materials, books, videos, etc. Don't listen to his program. Just take a break from it. Withdraw from all the input from Roy Masters for a time. I remember when I was involved with this, I used to always find myself thinking, what would Roy do in this situation? I based so many decisions in my life on what he would think or do. You need to take time to learn to think for yourself. You may find yourself thinking quite a bit about all the things you've learned from Roy and may not want to throw them all away. That's okay. Just take time to think about and digest and ponder all the things you've heard him say. No need to make value judgments about what is good or what is bad in the teachings at this time. As your mind heals, you will develop a clearer perspective and a better understanding of everything, and will be able to better determine which teachings are positive and beneficial and which teachings are negative and harmful. Don't worry if you find yourself thinking almost constantly about these things for a while. In time, the bad will be discarded and the good will remain. Any good you've received from Master's teachings, it is yours, so keep it. Number two, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for being the victim of a cult leader, for feeling betrayed, for feeling like a fool who got deceived. You are actually in good company. People who are intelligent, educated, successful, have good backgrounds in life are not immune to getting ensnared by destructive groups like the FHU. You may know people who try to make you feel stupid or guilty, like, oh gee, I would never have followed those teachings. I would never have gotten caught up in a cult. Well, my philosophy on that is nobody joins cults. However, anybody at any time in their life can become vulnerable to a deceptive and destructive cult group, philosophy, or even a controlling relationship. Don't let anyone ever make you feel bad about yourself for having gotten involved with Masters. I've found that the most sincere, honest, idealistic, and forward-thinking types of people are often the ones who get trapped in these kinds of groups because they are deceptive. It isn't always so easy to spot the underhanded techniques that these groups use to capture people's minds. That's why I call Roy Master's FHU the uncult. It just doesn't seem like a cult at all. So give yourself a very big break. Let go of any feelings of guilt or shame about this, and most of all, don't be angry with yourself. Number three, relax. Get some sleep and relax some more. Masters can make you afraid to even sleep. I remember he used to say, sleep is the enemy of awareness. And he even warned that sleeping too deeply is dangerous, to the point where one day you'll sleep too deeply and not wake up. Do yourself a favor and sleep. Sleep gives your body and mind a chance to recover and heal itself. Sleep is not an enemy. It is essential to your survival and recovery. Sleep deprivation is really a useful mind control technique employed by anyone who wants to rob you of your critical thinking abilities. So by all means, do not deprive yourself of sleep or relaxation. Number four, don't worry about your future or about moving on away from Master's teachings and the meditation. Don't worry that you're going to be cursed or anything of the like. Master's warning at the beginning of how your mind can keep you well, that scared the living heck out of me, I remember years ago. As if by stopping the meditation I'd be cursed with an illuminated conscience that would torture me for the rest of my life unless I went crawling back to the meditation. Fear indoctrination is another technique cult leaders use to keep people from leaving the group. As if you'll be much worse off if you leave the group, or as in Master's case, stop the meditation practice because there's no actual group or commune, other than the Tall Timber Ranch. My advice is don't be afraid of moving on. Any residual fear you have is merely a programmed response. It's the barb in the hook of deception that makes people keep on practicing meditation. As I remember, I was afraid to keep meditating, but even more afraid to quit. It's been almost 25 years since I last practiced the meditation, and I'm anything but cursed. In fact, I'm very happy, and I feel good about my life and future. You have nothing to fear by moving forward. You have freedom of mind, body, and spirit to look forward to. Neighbors. Number 5. You may find Roy Master's voice kind of stuck in your head. You may keep hearing it for a while, especially if you've just recently stopped listening to him or just stopped doing the meditation. Don't worry or panic about this. That was on purpose. Roy Masters purposefully tries to get into people's heads. Remember, he's a master hypnotist and he knows very well how to do it. In time, his voice will fade. You can displace it with your own thoughts, with your own voice, or anything at all that you want to be in your own head. The whole point of Master's meditation was to become objective toward your thought stream. Actually, it was more like a subtle way of getting you to stop thinking altogether. Mind control experts call this thought stopping. And it's a way of keeping mind control programming alive and well in you. Remember how if you found yourself thinking of something negative about Masters, suddenly you'd remember the meditation instruction to step back from your thoughts so as not to get lost in them. Just look at that thought as it tries to take your attention away from the moment, and it will fade away. Poof! Suddenly the negative thought about Roy Masters is gone. Any thought of doubt or conflict about what Roy teaches, become objective to the thought and watch it fade away. Very effective. This is actually a very classic mind control technique. My suggestion to you is don't worry about getting lost in thought. Just let your thoughts flow freely as you relax. Don't worry about what comes to mind. You may become more and more aware of how Master's teachings have infiltrated your own thought processes, and how the meditation suppressed free thought. Just remember, you don't need a hypnotic meditation technique or a set of instructions to become objective toward your thoughts. It's actually not difficult at all. If you find yourself getting lost in thought, don't worry. You will always find yourself again. You won't be lost. Don't be afraid of thoughts or getting lost in them occasionally. It happens to everybody. I remember how I used to panic when I'd suddenly become aware that I was not being objective toward my thoughts. Immediately, I'd snap myself back into that dissociated state of mind where my thinking would be just suspended. Don't worry if you find yourself going through this process of actually just learning how to think for yourself again. Masters makes it complicated when it's really so very simple. If you find yourself getting lost in thought, or if you find Master's voice droning in your head, just notice it happening and don't panic. In time, his voice will fade away and you'll find your very own self-determined way to become objective toward your thoughts.